Hi, everybody, and welcome to Matrix Live, Season 3, Episode 8, in which I'm joined here by Halfshot. Halfshot, do you want to reveal your real identity, or are you going
Oh,
to
right, yes. No one knows my real identity yet, so here I am first on screen. Ooh.
Well, thank you for joining us to have a chat about all the crazy stuff that's been going on with Bridges over the last
Yeah.
month or so. Um, God, where to start? I mean, for context, bridges have always been a bit of a interesting edge of Matrix, where we spent a lot of time in the beginning, back in like 2014 and 15, working on first of all the IRC bridge because we really, really wanted to get Freenode up and running and all of our existing IRC networks. And then there were a whole spate of other ones back then. And relatively early on, I did a random hack on the bridging code base, which was to go and take libpurple, which is the library that backs Pigeon, and go and hook it up to the very early Matrix App Service Bridge. In fact, I think it might have predated Matrix App Service Bridge, perhaps.
Yes, it had all sorts of really early stuff in there.
Yeah, so I'm not sure it was even really using the JS SDK. Basically,
Yep.
as a theoretical awesome demo to show Skype to matrix bridging, because back then in 2015, Skype was almost relevant still. And I forget what the conference was, but there was something where I wanted to show just how cool bridging could be, and did a lot of messing around to first of all take libpurple and the node bindings for it, which existed at the time but didn't work at all, updated the bridge bindings to work so that we could go and hook up anything that Pigeon can talk to into Matrix. And it worked.
Yep.
For about 2 days, we had Skype demoing just enough time to give a demo a few times, and then it bit rotted catastrophically because obviously all the rest of the main Matrix focus shifted back to Synapse and Riot and Dendrite and all of the other kind of business as usual things. And the
Yep.
code,
Yep.
much like the One Ring, got lost at the bottom of a river for a couple of thousand years
Yep.
until one day, a couple of months ago, I think this makes you out to be Smeargle, which isn't a particularly good thing. But one day, the code was rediscovered by Halfshot, and
Yep.
yeah,
As a
what it's
great
all about.
starting point for a new project. Uh, and I quickly discovered that none of it worked. And it was a valiant effort, but we spent quite a lot of time trying to redo it. I think after a little, I spent about 20 minutes looking at it, thinking I could make this work possibly on an old version of Node, make it look okay, or I could just rebuild the whole thing from scratch
Yeah, I mean, the thing
using
that was really horribly missing is all of the actual bridging stuff on it.
yeah.
So whilst the purpley bits and the pigeony bits were actually working relatively okay, because it predated Matrix App Service Bridge, you couldn't do plumbing, you couldn't do puppeting, you were literally just hard linking a Matrix room to a Skype room,
Yeah.
and if you were really lucky, that might work, and nothing else. So I think you did completely the right thing by throwing it all away.
But a lot of this stuff didn't really exist as a concept back when that was created. I mean, all this sort of like portals and puppeting and all these terms were sort of made, I think, with the Gitter and the Slack bridges. And then we had this massive library we've built up, which has got all this sort of built-in do your own bridge DIY stuff that's like 10 minutes to make your own bridge. And basically, you combine that with a somewhat decent Node library, and you've got a bridge. Um,
And the context for this actually was to do some fairly rapid demos of bridges to some of the more exotic protocols
yeah,
that Pigeon and Purple can speak to, and also just generally have it available so that if some random protocol turned up which we rapidly wanted to bridge to, as long as the Purple guys have done it, we can just go and jump on board and make it happen. So what did you have to do? I mean, presumably you had to update the library itself.
Yes, so we basically tore out all the bits in the Node Purple library and wrote our own C++ bindings, essentially. So you sort of do it the other way around, whereas the old bindings were written in Node, which sort of spoke to C functions. We wrote a C functions that spoke to Node,
Okay.
which is nice because you can basically write helper functions in C, which are a bit easier to write. And then providing you do all your freeing and your memory properly, which is quite important, buffers are quite important to handle. Then it works fine, and it's fairly crash proof now.
So this was using the new native binding stuff that you get in Node 8
Yeah,
or 9 or something?
It's newish. It's been around enough that we can use it comfortably. But yeah, what's it called? An API. That's it.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Native API stuff and Node. Yeah, which is really cool. I guess a bit like I forgot what the Python equivalent is. There's the Python perhaps where you go and write minimal wrappers around the C code, and
Yeah.
it goes and code generates everything else for you to dump it into place, which is a lot better than the hardcore glib hacking that I was having to do on it originally.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So it works.
Oh yeah, it works. It's quite performant. I mean, as much as Node, sorry, as much as Purple can be. So we found issues with Purple too. Where I've spent probably a good amount of time looking through the source code rather than the documentation they provide, because there's a lot of edge cases in there. There's a lot of things like, I mean, the Purple library is not built to do bridging really, because it's a client library, and you're sort of slightly perverting it into being a bridge library. And suddenly it's like, oh, I've got hundreds of accounts for this one, essentially one user it believes is using the bridge. So there are things you have to be careful of, but I think it's about as good as it could be.
Well, some people might be listening to this, or at least I hope somebody's listening to it, and saying, "Wow, this sounds a lot like Bittleby," because it is. I mean, this is now really the matrix equivalent of Bittleby. In
Yep.
that Bittleby, if you don't know, talks IRC on the front end, so you connect your IRC client to it, and that in turn fires up a bunch of libpurple things which connect out to XMPP and another IRC server, so you can use it as a bouncer and all the rest of it. And in fact, I used to use it as my main communication setup before Matrix came along, to have a ZNC that would connect through to a Bittleby, and then the Bittleby would go and talk to Skype for
Yep.
Business, or Link as it was then, and XMPP, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it actually worked really nicely. So it can be done to
Yep.
use libpurple like this, but doing it at scale, where every single puppeted user ends up
Yeah.
being its own instance, is a little bit clunky.
So one of the things we did sort of is we found quickly that people don't want to puppet their own accounts every time they want to talk across the bridge. So we enabled this thing called auto registration, which also creates you an XMPP account, for example. It's actually quite robust. You can actually do other sort of auto registrations. You literally just give it a HTTP endpoint or an executable and say, execute this, and the account comes back. So if any contributors wanted to go out there and create a battle.net account, for example, automatically, they could do that through the bridge.
That's really cool. So you can literally be automatically signing up your virtual users on the target platform. So that people randomly on Matrix, you want to use the bridge, will suddenly find themselves provisioned with a battle.net account or whatever.
Exactly, and there's no responsibility.
The would love.
Yeah, there's no responsibility in us to maintainers to ensure people are doing this responsibly. But yeah, so in theory you could run anything. And I mean, the bridge is designed to be quite multi-protocol in every aspect, in that we've now got multiple backends you can use other than just Purple, like the XMPP stuff. So yeah, I guess that's
actually, don't gloss over that, because that's the interesting bit here. But we are also finding ourselves needing to actually do proper XMPP bridging at last, and had a look around at some of the solutions out there. And there are probably 6 or 7 of them now, and all of them do one thing really well and ignore everything else. So you've got things like Hubert or Uherect, one, which is the prosody fork of, or it's the fork of the
it's a module. I think it's only a module, a Lua module, I think.
Yeah, so it's taken the muck module that you get in Lua, which does normal XMPP mucks, and then forked it to be called muck matrix, which basically implements an XMPP muck but backs it by matrix. So it's great if you're on XMPP wanting to talk through to an existing matrix room, but totally useless if you're on Matrix wanting to talk through to an XMPP muck, for instance. And then talk to Meluta, or however you should best pronounce his name, about the Java one that he was doing, and he said it was kind of alpha and good playing with, but not something that we can properly demo with. And for better or worse, we need something that worked relatively robustly. So the next step was to look at the purple stuff that we'd done, and well, tell us more.
Yeah, that was I was quite guilty of this. So at the start I made it to be sort of interfacey in that it's TypeScript and you can basically replace the purple stuff early on. I don't actually know why I did this. I just thought, well, let's make interfaces because might be useful. Turns out later on we wanted to replace all the stuff with an XMPP backend. So the vast majority of the work I spent the last week doing is literally just creating a interface using XMPP.js to do all the stuff we're already doing in Purple, and it just slots in. Just magic. You can magically just make this Purple bridge into an XMPP only bridge with all the stuff like alias joining and PMs and group chats, and it works beautifully, and it's quite fast now actually. So yeah.
So I mean, this is really a bit of a just to make sure that everybody understands what we're talking about here.
Yep.
This is literally taking the brand new, amazing Matrix App Service Purple bridge and removing all the purple from it,
Yes,
and
exactly.
literally swapping out the entire purple backend, not just a particular module, but
Yep.
specifically if you're talking XMPP, it just skips over purple and talks directly to a native XMPP client in Node, xmpp.js. So that you get almost a perfect bridging thing, with the slight catch that it's using this interface that was designed to abstract libpurple, but because it's
Yep.
your interface, you can presumably make it as rich as you
Oh
like.
yeah, exactly. So it's brilliant. Is that you can? I haven't actually found any problems where I've had to convert things from purple and back, just how it's written. So all the richness you get from XMPP, like the V cards for profiles and that, presence, which I think is a thing you can do, and all this, all the extra features you can get, we can actually bridge in.
Yep.
So it could be as good as an actual XMPP bridge quite easily.
Which is super exciting and completely crazy, because I guess we set out to update the no purple stuff, and before we know it, we've got a generic kind of meta bridge application. And I was thinking about it actually the other night, and thinking that it's actually quite a nice approach, that rather than firing up lots and lots of different standalone bridge apps, which immediately all start forking and diverging and completely different code bases, if we just have one general, here's our general purpose bridge thing, and to implement a new protocol is just adding in another backend, that sounds a lot less likely to just diverge and become a complete mess. So completely accidentally, we've totally reinvented the entire bridging architecture of the Matrix.
Yes, it feels like another bit on top of the AS SDK. The AS SDK was originally sort of what we're doing now, in that it's meant to abstract the transaction-y style app service SDK API into a bridging, a componenty sort of library. We used to pick the components you want, and then you build your bridge on top of that. Now we've built another bridge on top of that, which has even more specific components for basically creating rooms, which are groups or PMs or admin rooms. And then on top of that, you've got your backend. So yeah, we basically created another set of tools for people to create. I guess they want to add their own backends to this, they could. So quite easily, they could create their own sort of interface for their own protocol, and it would all just work.
Yeah, well, certainly next time I have some random protocol that I want to see, rather than taking, I don't know, Matrix App Service IRC, forking it, deleting 90% of the code, and now adding in new random stuff. The idea of taking this thing, adding in a new TypeScript class that implements the interface, and you're off. Sounds awesome. So yeah, it was also, I was playing around with the code, and it's all written in TypeScript, and it's feeling very fresh and nice relative to some of the more clunky stuff that we have flying around on the JavaScript side of things. Well, anyway, enough talking. Can we see it? Can you show it?
Oh yes, we can. Right, I should show you application by application, but let's stick out a. Let's show the right app first. That's the fun one, isn't it? So, here we go. Right. See my right app?
Yeah, let me just move myself out of the way slightly. Oh, there we go.
Right. Go for it. Yeah, so this is my alias portaled XMP test demo one room. I've created it earlier because I've added an extra bridge to it. This Discord bridge here. So you can see here, here's my Matrix test account. Here's my Conferency @muck XMPP account. And here's my Discord account. All in one room. And it's quite fun. So if I then start sending messages from another chat, such as hello, then providing the bridge is still running. Oh, it's even decided to change its name.
Okay, so that's cool. So that's actually getting rid of the weird muck profile thing that you get on resource, whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's yeah. So that's cool.
So that's coming in from XMPP. Can we see the XMPP side of this?
Yeah, let's go share that.
You should explain that Halfshot has a strange window manager that only allows him to screen share one window at a time.
Yeah, this obscure GNOME free. I've never heard of it, but it's doesn't like Chrome for some reason. So this is the conference on the other side. You can see in here.
Talking through to a Prosody, is it, or?
No, it's talking to eJebbed.
Okay.
Because Prosody wasn't not working through Docker for me, and I didn't want to spend the time setting up again. So this is our conference on the right side. You can see Halfy, which is my XMPP account. We've got Discord bot, which is how we provision Discords. My Discord user with his proper name, Test, which is my Matrix account, and then finally this is another Matrix account.
Okay.
And I do like how he got all the users on the right side basically for free, which is quite
Mhm.
cool. Um,
Okay,
yep,
so you were sending things in on XMPP,
yep.
and okay,
Actually,
so
the PMs.
and is that going to appear there as well? Oh yeah, have we got PMs as well?
We have got PMs. So this is me chatting to test, which is it's going to make lots of pigeon noises. So you got
Right,
that.
can't hear
So
the noises. You're fine.
so yeah, this is on Pigeon. This is my XMPP account talking to my Matrix user, test at
Okay, we
matrix.localhost.
see the matrix side. Just
Yeah. Let's go throw myself over there, which is this guy here. And then if you go to my, I had to make right a bit bigger, doesn't like small screens. And also if I didn't filter that would help. And here we are. So yeah,
come on, Riot, you can do it.
it's my laptop. Right, there we go. So you've got Hashi at localhost, which is my name for my XMPP, talking to Test, which is me. All free for PMs, all running through the Purple Bridge.
Is very cool. So presumably there should be a profile updating thing that was
Yep.
renaming the Jabber ID with the display name like
So
Pigeon
yeah,
or something.
that hasn't been actually included for the XMPP backend yet. So we
Okay.
haven't got any profile stuff there because I've got to look through the vCard stuff.
Oh, God,
But
yes.
that's fun. But that's coming soon. It's quite easy to do. You literally just tell the interface how to form a profile. I guess the last demo is showing it, Discord talk to XMP, talk to Matrix.
Yeah, why not? Discord to XMPP bridging is clearly what everyone has been screaming for forever.
You know what? I think I must have heard at least one person ask for that at one point. So try and find the right actual account. I have too many Discords. So suddenly we should have messages appearing with
Oh,
typing
typing
notifications.
notifications.
We love that. So yep, that's my Discord account appearing, and then I'll just go to the Discord side quickly. Yep, here we are.
Make sure you get the right Discord. Just saying.
Yeah, so here we are. This is our XMPP Bridge channel with all the stuff in it. From
So yeah, we've actually got the purple X and PPJS, except God, we really need to get the profiles working there. In fact, wow,
yeah,
look at that matrix ID prepared underscore purple underscore X and PP dash JS underscore testing demo one at except it's QT and
yeah,
code.
it's
I've really
yeah, the
stopped liking
purple,
this.
the
Hold
purple
on.
USIDs are beautiful. Yeah. But yeah, it all bridges across quite nicely, and it seems to work quite well with other bridges. You can also do ROC, which is something you can try later. I'm not going to go through ROC
Yeah.
bridging at the same time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just needs profile stuff. And if it, so for the DM stuff, so if it's DMing between Matrix and XMPP, would it go all the way through to presumably the Discord bridge doesn't do Discord DMs?
Not yet, but it will be. It's in progress.
Doing it as a puppeted.
Oh, you had to puppet the accounts first because of fun Discord reasons. But yeah, I mean, if any app play source lets you PM between them, you can PM. It just works naturally.
Cool. Well then, so what's next? I guess just making it all a bit more robust. Are we going to run it on matrix.org?
Yes. So I think the plan is to make an XMPP server for Matrix.org eventually, and have the whole bridge running through it, so the XMPP crowd can join in and say hello, and not be afraid of us, and that'll be fun. And yeah, I guess more bridges and stuff will coming soon as well.
I have to say, I cannot wait to join hash underscore XMPP underscore XSF, I know underscore help.xmpp.org matrix.org and find myself in the main XSF muck for Matrix, and perhaps they will see that we are actually trying to bridge everything together and make a happy world rather than get into a big fight. But this is really exciting. So I cannot believe, honestly, that the old No Purple stuff has come back to life, because when I wrote it, I thought, wow, this is so cool. Somebody is immediately going to jump on this and make it amazing. I mean, it happened 3.5 years. Basically, the moral of open source being that if you think something's great, you either have to bully somebody into doing it, hello, or do it yourself. But I'm very glad that it's been picked up. Thank you so much for playing my bit and for taking the time to give us a guided tour.
Yeah, no problem. It's fun to play with. Cool. Hopefully someone contributes to it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I hope they will. The problem is, of course, that poor old libpurple is not moving that fast these days. But I can still see there being some pretty random protocols which it can talk, which nobody else is going to bother doing natively in Matrix, possibly even including like Skype for Web, because that's the absolute beast of a protocol. And I know that Eon Rob. In fact, have you spoken to Eon Rob at all?
Yes, this was the guy who's doing all the little protocols. He's got a battle.net one, I think, which is what I was trying with.
Yeah,
Um,
so Ian hangs around on Matrix and is the maintainer for libpurple, as far as I know, and
wow.
has helped a bunch with things like the Matrix purple thing. And of course, one of the amazing things you could do with this is to bridge through to Matrix. There are probably nicer ways of talking Matrix than going via the self Matrix bridge. Either way, yeah, we should go and say hi to him again
Yeah.
because if nothing else, you should be interested in how we're abusing his thing. And he wrote the Skype for Web thing too, and basically
Yeah.
is specialized in HTTP-based messaging protocol purple plugins for libpurple, so at least can see what we're doing and tell us how we're doing it all wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, watch your space, everybody, for when xmpp.matrix.org actually goes live. I assume it will be a prosody or something that will run and have it hooked up to Halfshot's bridge, and then we've got a whole new pantheon of bridging going on. Hopefully, we won't need
Yeah.
to worry about filtering spam from XMPP or vice versa.
All fun.
Or
That'll be my job.
yes, have fun with that. It's the poison
Yeah.
chalice of all the bridging work. Cool.
Yes.
Thank Harvey for talking to us, and have a wonderful weekend. And I guess we'll catch everybody this time next week, possibly for the last Matrix Live of the year. I'm trying to remember what date it's going to be. It'll be the 28th. So yeah, we'll do a final wrap up thing next week, and speak to you all then.
Okay.
Bye.
Right. See ya. Bye.